Hi guys, what's up? Thank you so much for joining me. Polina here. I'm chatting to you about this particular moon. We do have an eclipse happening over this full moon in Pisces, of course, as the sun is in Virgo. It's going to be a really hard time. So this is happening between the 7th and the 8th of September. And who is it going to affect? People that have a lot of ego, people that have a lot of emotion, people that have very racy, very outrageous, very ridiculous view of life, people that are living outside of the natural world, people that don't want that which they're given, people that want something or somebody else outside or on top of that which they've got, people that want more than everybody else, people that want to bite more than they can chew, and also definitely people that want those things that they're not naturally given by life. And if you have a lot of amazing dreams and designs, for example, you are in the arts, on communication, and your style of life is naturally dictated by the city and other people around you that are moved by media, social media and the like, you will have it probably a lot more than other people. So, you know, having things that are weird and crazy and goofy come true, that's also kind of real. You know, some people are not saying like, I want that which everything is giving me. I don't want to just be in a neutral, the mediocre relationship with things. I don't want to like live in the suburbs. I want to live in a Manhattan apartment, you know, hopefully at the top somewhere. I want to be on top, you know, I want to be in the greatest body of people. I want to have a very magical device. Also have a look at electronics and device stuff, you know, also with this Uranus being in Gemini. I want much more money than anybody can make. I want the best computer. I want the biggest and the most prized or the most precious. And that's something that we basically just have to cull during this time. So especially if you have planned something that is just way out there, like way out there, doesn't have any real relevance. There's no real, true, desperate need to get that thing or to meet that person or to be in that part of town. There is no real credit given for this or that. We just basically have to start over. Certain people can change their life. Some people will desperately want to be a part of a completely different cycle of people. Like, for example, I want to move back to my hometown and hang out with my high school sweetheart, and I don't care, I want to cancel everything that I've had. Only for those that are going backwards will this make any sense. For example, if you're going back into a memory, for instance, you used to live in a certain place, you went to school, university over there, then you moved town, then you moved countries, and you did a lot of these things. Now you're living in a different part of the world, but you're saying, hey, wait a minute, I had something back there. Yes, you can reach backwards. Yes, you can reach back into your parents' line. Yes, you can reach back like 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe even 17 years ago, back into where you've been before and take some of that with you. But you've got to be very careful, because you could also be eventually blocked from going further or going forward with where you are. So this is something that we just have to really also enjoy about this time. Some of us don't really need that which we've got, and that's also fine. So if you're one of those individuals that has built a life, and over the last 5 or 6 years you've made a certain design, and you're actually sitting back now and you're saying, you know what, although this is cool, this is nice, I'm exceptionally bored and I'm just not meant to be here. I don't know what made me decide that I was going to be here, and what made me imagine this is going to be part of me. So I would actually rather go back. So this is where we got nostalgia. Nostalgia wins. You know, it's like, I want to go back to where I was a kid. I want to go back to where I was a young adult. I want to go back to where I was making money before. I want to go back. And that's sometimes actually kind of nice for some people. It's like, yeah, okay, well, now you know what really mattered. So at the end of the day, it's like, I don't care, for example, about my marriage and my home and my little garden of Eden that I created. This is boring. I actually want to be somewhere where I was before I came here. So for some people, this is actually a bright awakening. I would not say that this is necessarily true, but it's fine to say, okay, what I got right now, who I got around me, what I've become is actually insincere. So for instance, you got married, you made a family, and you're like now saying, yeah, but like our lives are dense. Like we don't even talk. We sit there on our devices. Nobody wants to leave the home. Everything is just sad. Like we're just waiting to get old, and maybe, you know, we've suffered a lot, and then, you know, we met each other and at least we give each other peace. But I don't really like it around here. Like I'll honestly say, like, this is like the most boring life that I've ever had, which is fine. But then, like, for example, you go back to like dating somebody that you've dated before, Like maybe it's not your ex, but the ex before your ex, you know what I mean? And you're saying, well, at least that guy, he played the guitar, or like he drove the motorcycle, he was fun, he's now traveling, or like he's doing cool things, and maybe I don't want to be there where I am, you know. But also consider, like, should you just progress with what you've got? And now this is the hardest thing that people really have to pay attention to. Shouldn't you just progress with what you've got? Like, yeah, it is mediocre, it's boring. Maybe like say what you got going on doesn't pay you as much as other things would have paid you. Maybe what you got going on is only a limit, or it's kind of like an appendix rather than like a choice. Or it is not necessarily an appendix, it's just a boring old world. It's like, well, now here you just sit and you raise your kids, and you know, you keep your wits about you, and you make sure that the next generation grows, or you just make sure that you keep in touch with yourself and your senses, and you grow your garden and you learn more about nature, or you just learn more about, you know, where you are today. Like, so it's just like, why don't you just stay at the level that you are and just work with it? Yeah, it is a little bit sad, it's mediocre. Maybe you are not afraid of the fact that there is something or somebody about you or inside of you that knows, well, I don't really think this is the all that I am. Like, I don't really think this is me. I don't think this is my forever home. I don't think this is my forever person or people. I don't really think so. But you see, like, if you are very, very kind and careful, and if you actually do not destroy that which you've got, but you treat everything, every single person with respect, if you treat all of that which you are a part of with respect, it will probably give you better vision eventually, or better life choices that are more relevant for you today. But I get that if some people are like, yeah, well, I don't have any patience, I don't have any time. Some things can close and some things can open. What I found in this, with all innocence, is sometimes if you leave something, it will no longer provide you the same level of kindness and care. You know, so for example, if you walk out of a certain job right now and go back to your previous employment, maybe you will not be able to re-enter that job, or you will somehow lose your energy, your keys, or your contacts. You know, so I'm not telling you necessarily to be selfish here and, you know, just see what offers you more, but I'm just kind of feeling like there are not yet seen realities, there are not yet experienced things, there are not yet experienced possibilities and people in your life, and maybe that's what you want to do eventually. You want to care for, you know, the idea or the philosophy that there's a little bit more around the corner. Maybe if you spoke gently to it, or if you were careful with it, and if you took time with it, maybe you'll find that there is actually a lot more for you and other people. But I also get that some people can't, and they're just saying, I don't need this, I don't need that, like I'm gonna just biff this, biff that, I'm just gonna like stop talking to this person or that person, and I respect you for that as well. So also with this ego, with this contrast of this particular moon, the need to be just over and done with, the need to block and delete, the need to be a part of a completely different choice, a choice palette, I got this, you will not be able to get back there sometimes. Like you're slamming the door, for example, you've slammed the door at your parent, just an example, and next time you call them, they're gonna still pick up the phone, but they may not want to talk to you for long, or they may just have other things going on, or somehow it's a regret, yeah, that there's just gonna be not enough energy, light, or frequency there to keep a friendship going. Sometimes, you know, the more you are likely to change things, to leave things, maybe the less natural, organic openness and opportunity will be there for you eventually later on in time. So this is not where you just break up and see how you feel and then get back together because that's what you feel like. You know, you can't just, like, for example, tell a certain person off and then just think, oh, they're going to forgive me. Like, of course, you know, it's my mom. She's going to forgive me. She's going to love me no matter what. Well, sometimes, you know, surprise, maybe not. And what I would probably like you to do, I mean, honestly, is just try to have a look at your resources, try to see what is right for you, try to see what is a natural, organic, and kind of symmetrical stuff that you have going on here. Where is the more natural and the more neurologically calm and sentimental part of your life, of your journey? Where are the more like, yeah, sure, normal, lukewarm, simple experiences that are happening with you, to you right now? What is the more welcome or welcoming energy? What is the more friendly and simple, effortless energy that you have, that you are working with at the moment? Try not to abort that. Try not to cross it out. Try not to fling it out of your life. Try to make sure that you're not flinging out things that are actually growing. So this is almost like picking weeds out of your garden and then by accident picking out your crops as well. So just make sure you're not picking out your crops. Yes, there will be a culling. Of course, there is a culling energy during this time. Things will definitely, maybe no longer be possible for certain people, certain energies. When we have this happen, there is nothing that we can do, but just to be very careful. The best I could say is just be kind, be relevant with that which you have already decided that you do not want in your life. Be very, very careful with this energy because it looks like it's not going to take this long to make a choice or to take an opportunity, but this could actually be a very long time to eventually fix. So for example, certain procedures are a terrible, horrible idea during this time, like getting veneers or, getting some kind of like cosmetic procedures. It's a horrible time to also, enter university. It's a bad time to change something, to change your dream, to work on this, work on that, and to shift too crazily or too rapidly or too zealously into another life. So this is like kind of like taking a very quick turn somewhere. It is going to be better off this way for some people. I get that some people are like, well, I need to fix something, I need to shift my life, I need to take a turn. Then yet again, I would probably say be careful, because if you looked at the grand scheme of your life, if you zoomed out of not just like your immediate experience or existence, and if you actually went a little bit further out, and if you zoomed out also several lives, if you zoomed out several lives, meaning like say like not your daughter's life but like her children's life, you'll see how, for example, your association, what your addictions right now, what your emblematic experience or emblematic behavior could eventually shadow or imprint on them. So for example, if right now you, for example, taking something that's not yours, or you're considering doing something that is really ridiculous or outrageous, that may not necessarily be you, but it may be your daughter, like for example, or your daughter's children that have to do exactly the same thing eventually later on. So what I would probably try to do here during this time is try to get off course and off focus where things are too zany, too big, too bright, too gallant, too outrageous, and too energetically voluptuous or too unreal, and try to just go with those really nice, simple, and yes, neutral, natural, real energies. Try to work with that which naturally works, and just consider facts, consider culture, and try to keep in the background. Now is not a time to go out in the foreground unless you're really freaky somehow. It's good to be outside of it all. It's nice to be somewhere out there in the mountains. It's nice to be somebody who is no longer reachable or touchable. And it's good just to have a break. If you are good and your soul is in the right place and you have all of it already prepared for you, and you realize where your life is going and what is the point of all of it, you would not make any more sense of anything. You would just float into the back waters or the backgrounds. Even if you have a gift, even if you have a talent, even if you have a lot of money saved up, even if you have this or that, you would probably just simply step away from this freight train that is happening here. So the freight train where there's too much money, too much anger, too much energy, too much depression, too much like big game, big ideas, big bucks, big bodies, anything. If you actually really take care of yourself, if you understand, if you know now that you would really rather have your peace, and that you would rather just stay the same as you always were and protect your inner child and protect your innocence, you would not need anything, and not a lot of it would matter to you. So on the highest frequencies of this reading, I would definitely probably say that it would be nice to provide more pleasure, more energy that is just needed at the time. It's like, oh, I'm tired, I'm just gonna sleep, or I'm feeling healthy and good, let's go for a ride. Oh, like I'm not feeling very welcome in this place, okay, well, let's go elsewhere. Oh wow, that was great, can we do this again? So these are very nice, simple impulses. If you can, observe animals, observe coral like beach coral. It's like it comes out when it feels like something is in the air, something is pleasurable, and then it coils back in. So just about making yourself not so approachable, not so available, not so open to serve. If you have several things that you know that you like to do or things that you're good at, maybe a smarter person will not want to be professional at it, will not want to be used for their talents. Certain people do not want to be used for their timelines. They don't want to perfect the lives of other people. They don't want to tell other people what to do. A smarter person would not want to lift anybody else's weight. A very smart person doesn't want to be responsible, reliable for other people. Some people just don't care, and that's fine. You know, there are certain people that they don't care. They don't have it in them to listen through a lecture. They don't want to be part of a story. They don't want to be dressed this way or that. They don't want to be simplified by the people. They don't want to be dubbed as a stereotype or a character. They don't want to be paid for a service. They just don't really care about it anymore. And that means that you are a living person. You are a living human being within means, within reasons, you know, within space and time. So that means that you're reasonable and you know yourself very well. So if you are useless or no longer of use or no longer able to be used, or if you simply don't care or something about you sort of feels lazy and not needed, or you're living inside of your own dream time, your own imagination, or if you are counting on your guides or your imaginary state of being, or if you just kind of pretending that this or that really means something to you but it doesn't, this is really profound, you know. So people that are just married to themselves, people that don't care whether or not it looks good in front of mum or dad, people that don't care whether or not they do or do not produce a life, people that don't care whether they do or do not make a big dash of it. They don't care if they make a job out of that which they love to do. They don't need to, and they don't need to be a friend to somebody who is not genuinely interesting for them. So if you actually think about your lifetime and livelihood, and just like your natural qualities, like most of it is just not interesting. Most of it is not a part of your life. Most of it is not a program anymore. You know, it's like having to do this and that, having to survive, having to succeed, having to have kids, having to get married. Many things don't really mean anything. And a lot of it is just about, you know, look at how much is possible for you, just for you. Not by the book of someone else, but just by your own life, because the world has changed. Of course, the world has changed a long time ago, and it doesn't actually have to be within those limits or reasons. It doesn't have to be within those systems that everybody else is employing. It never had to be. You never had to step up. You never had to be the man or the woman. You never had to be the golden child. And some of it about this is just about keeping real and keeping within choice. And I think that the palettes, you know, if you can imagine color palettes, are different for everybody, and that is a complete reflection of your truth and your health. You know, so if you're working with a very radiant color palette, it's because you're a very radiant being and you are healthy and happy inside out. And that's what for you can generate all that energy and that frequency naturally. You know, and if you are, for example, a very corrupt, sad, or depressed, segregated being, this is like working with expired watercolors, and it's not easy, and maybe all of it is just a mishmash of this and that. And imagine like painting a life that is gray, and it's like that's just simple to me now to say why, is because you've burnt out your batteries, you have done things that you shouldn't have done. And you have not focused on natural law, for example, eating meat and steak constantly and carbs and guzzling down beer. You know, of course, there's going to be a limited choice for you later in time. You know, like say working hard all the time and burning yourself out. Of course, it's going to be a limit later on. So some of it is, of course, important for me to say. It's like how you have been treating yourself as what you've prepared yourself for. You know, so like how you've been treated also by your parents sometimes as well, or your significant other. So the best thing I have to say basically is be okay about how you have prepared yourself and packed your bag, what you've been preparing yourself for, how you've been treating yourself, how you've been thinking about yourself, and also what have other people said about you, like what has life prepared you for. You know, what has been your game, what has been your magic, your main method of life, or making money, or just making it truth, or where have you been concentrated? Where have you concentrated on? What have you concentrated on to make yourself so skilled at this or that? And I already talked a lot about this on Patreon. It's like whether or not you like it, you have certain skills. And there are certain experiences that you have naturally been prepared by or prepared for. So this is where we just have to be fine with this. And the best I have for you is just to understand that this is so. So it's not about like drinking 4 cups of coffee a day to hide the fact that you have certain emotional erosion or depression. So you have to face it, Or, for example, it's not about taking collagen substances constantly, for example, if you are not able to process them. Some people can't. So just like understand, it's not about, stretching your face tight and making yourself a different person. It's not about, like, say, putting different color on your hair or making yourself smile when you feel like crying. So just all about the necessary changes that people need to be more natural. This is a liberating moon, as all eclipses are. It's just trying to liberate yourself or you from that which you believe that is important in your life, that just doesn't have anything to do with you. And it's important basically to be fine and dandy about how other people live their life, to not mess with it, and to try to disappear. I already talked about that in the September prognose. As long as you have your peace, everything is fine. The kinder and happier you are within yourself, the less you want to be part of the crowd, and the more likely you already have learned how to get along and how to live your life outside of the messes that a lot of people have. And it's just about not feeling a mess and feeling fine and feeling, and this is hard for some people that are very social, to understand that you're basically like a complete person. You're male and female, or kind of like you have the chi of the yin and the yang within you. Kind of spirit, kind of animal, lady-da-di-da, kind of this, kind of that, kind of from this tribe, from that tribe, and you are this and that, and okay, fine. You have certain personality traits, so you have certain physical, biological traits, so understanding your nature and understanding how to be proud of that as well. Not proud externally, like, hey, everybody, just being proud of yourself within reason and within limits, and then walking off somewhere. Meaning guiding yourself away from wisdom of other people, projection of what other people do and how they want to employ you, whether or not they are in themselves struggling or somehow employed or pushed or expected things from. So it's not about you being expectant from. This is the worst part of Virgo. It's not about being expected from. Like, now I expect you to, for example, produce an air, here and air, or I expect you to, for example, produce this much work in this many days, or I expect you to be polite to me, or I expect you to have a house by the time you're 35. All of this basically ends if you just be good to yourself. And as soon as you are very good to yourself, you may not want anything, and it's nice and it's normal, very sentimental, to want to disappear. Disappearing from the group of people, disappearing from constant discourse, disappearing from social media, disappearing from certain people in your world, disappearing from certain part of life, just respecting it, but just disappearing. So this is a very worthy time to leave it alone and to not talk about it, not touch it, not get excited about it, not feed it, and try to stick to the neutral until you are no longer seen or heard or no longer perceived in a certain frequency. Which is not something that people like. No, I want to stand up and be counted, but look at how much energy, like even saying that, it made me feel like this, because it's a broken thought. The idea of battling things out and proving yourself, what a shame people think that this is the most important thing that they could do in their life. And a lot of souls, a lot of people are coming back into bodies because they want to prove something, because they want to fight someone, they want to fight something inside themselves or other people. So it's just get over it. Try to shift out to the peripherals. It's almost like you're in a boat and you're just making it away from shore till the boat is no longer seen. And it is absolutely okay and it's cool to mean nothing by it. It's like, oh, sorry, that was a mistake. I mean nothing by it. For example, you're in a steady relationship that should have been just a holiday for you, just a few days, and it turned out to be a solid 10-year relationship, and you're just like, sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. Like, it's a cool culture today. People actually would allow it more than they used to allow back in the day. So it's just about trying to leave or somehow be forgotten, trying to haze oneself out, trying to imagine another world, or trying to leave alone that which you've been fighting for and trying to prove yourself at and try to do constantly and mean nothing in it. It's like, oh, did I really say I was going to take care of the whole house and cook and clean and do everything? Well, I need to go somewhere, like say I'm going to go to a hot yoga class and that's my day. Well, it took me a whole day. So just like understand your limits, and also where you have outlasted to the point where you forgot why you were there, and then you basically get to wake up and start again. So thank you very much. I hope that this was an interesting report for you, and I will see you next time with another eclipse report that is happening on the equinox. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.